This might surprise you, but I am a geek, and I love Japanese anime and manga. I know, you never saw this coming, did you? Yeah. Recently, I decided to watch Overlord, which has been on my to-watch list since forever, and I couldn't help but wonder how could I run that kind of story in a D&D game. The basic plot of the show revolves around one of those perfect virtual reality games we can only find in anime, very similar to World of Warcraft or hundreds of fantasy JRPGs, which is being shut down. The main character had built a guild with his friends, and a rather unique one because you had to be an undead creature to be a part of it. And since they were very high level, the guild became this huge labyrinthic tomb guarded by loads of undead and teeming with priceless magic items. And after 7 years of gaming, just minutes before the servers get shut down for good, the protagonist stands in the guild hall, alone since Holly's friends found other stuff to do with their lives and moved on, and just contemplates everything, determined to witness the final seconds of the game. Except, when the servers shut down, he ends up stuck in the game. All NPCs come to life and start talking, calling him master, which basically makes him the ruler of a giant mausoleum of evil creatures. Oh, and by the way, did I mention his character is this overpowered skeleton lich? Yeah, imagine if you got stuck in a fantasy game, but instead of being the hero, you are the big bad evil guy. It would be amazing to play a D&D game like this, where you and the rest of your party are the top-level undead commanders of a dark alliance bent on world domination. But D&D isn't prepared for such stories from the get-go. There isn't a lich character ancestry in the core rules, or a mummy lord, or a vampire, much less a high-level skeleton mage from an anime. So I made my own. Welcome to Arcadia. I am very happy to present my first ever published homebrew content, The Death Sovereign. This is a character ancestry or character race if you prefer for D&D 5th edition, very inspired by Overlord, which you can find for free in the DM's Guild, link down below in the Underdark. Now, what makes the Death Sovereign different and why should you give it a look? Well, first there's the obvious, because it's cool. It will allow you to play as a powerful evil undead on an evil campaign of your choice, and that should sound awesome to most people. But there's a second reason. The Death Sovereign is not a normal player ancestry, like the ones you can find in the player's handbook. It is by design what I like to call a narrative-driven ancestry. The truth is, I hate the ancestries that Wizards of the Coast has been giving us for the last few years. First of all, they should be focusing on making new classes, not new ancestries. After all, your class defines about 90% of who you are in D&D. But new classes are difficult to make, so they prefer to flood us with new races, as they call it, to project the illusion they are giving us a lot of content. Second, making new ancestries is easy. You just have to follow the same template over and over. It's so easy that anyone can make them, even DMs without much experience in homebrewing. So why give us so many things we can make ourselves instead of what we need more help with, like new classes? But the final reason why I hate the official ancestries is because most of the times they don't matter. If you choose to play an ancestry other than human, it should have some impact in the way you play it. That was what encouraged me to make the videos about role-playing better certain ancestries in the first place, to give interested players some tips and tricks to make their non-human characters unique and roleplay them truthfully. But most of the times, players roleplay halflings and elves and dragonborn and even warforged as if they were humans, just with different physical characteristics. No distinction whatsoever in personality or background culture. Now you could say, but hey, that's not D&D's fault, it's the players or the DMs who should roleplay differently. But that just reveals a big design flaw. There is nothing encouraging the players to roleplay their ancestry accordingly. There was this great quote I read once, "Users ignore design that ignores the users." If there is no benefit to roleplaying an ancestry in accordance to the lore, why should you do it? Enter narrative-driven ancestries. I will make a video completely dedicated to this design approach because I plan to do much more narrative-driven ancestries, but just so you understand what makes them different, while they have all the normal features and traits the official ancestries have, they also have some new additions that not only reward playing truthfully to your ancestry, but also encourage a character arc related to your ancestry. Let's take a closer look at the Death Sovereign. Like the other ancestries, you have a few traits like immunity to poison damage and vulnerability to bludgeoning damage because you're a skeleton, or the undead nature, stating that you don't need food or drink because you're undead. However, things start to get interesting when you reach the Ancestry Alignment section. As a Death Sovereign, you get two traits that encourage you to play as an evil undead overlord. With Evil Nature, if you deliver the killing blow on a humanoid creature, you can animate that creature's hand as a crawling claw. After all, you are an evil necromancer of sorts. If you behave as such, you win cool stuff that the good guys are too good aligned to get. But you also have Sovereign's Pride. If a good aligned creature harms you and is not killed within 1 hour as a punishment for that crime, you get disadvantage in all ability checks until you complete a short rest. This translates not only the emotional turmoil suffered for having someone best you and get away with it, but also the effect on your authority with everyone surrounding you. It's not a terrible disadvantage, but enough to weigh on your decision. And if you do decide to spare a creature, even knowing what will happen to you, it will add even more impact to that choice. But that is not all. As a Death Sovereign, you also receive Ancestry Quests. These are achievements that all Death Sovereigns aim towards, but which are not in any way mandatory. They just give you cool stuff. You see, every Death Sovereign begins as a lowly skeleton. To achieve the status of a sovereign, they must become masters of undeath, and the first step in that journey is awakening, gaining some semblance of a soul or conscience by killing a higher leveled undead and stealing their soul or whatever dark force keeps them standing. If you do this, you increase your charisma score and gain telepathy. But that is not all. After awakening, there is a second ancestry quest, Ascension of the Sovereign, because you only truly become a Death Sovereign when you have amassed enough power or gain true mastery over undeath. There are 3 ways to achieve this, each giving you very specific rewards and new powers. For example, if the path you chose was that of the Undead King, you must slay no less than 1,000 humanoids with your own blade in a night of new moon to siphon their souls into you. This will raise your strength score, grant you the ability to cast Phantom Steed at will, and truly turn you into a Death Sovereign. And of course, since you're a Death Sovereign, that steed is a nightmare. As I said before, you can get the Death Sovereign for free right now in the DM's Guild, link down below in the Underdark. It will be listed as pay what you want, meaning you can choose to pay $0, but if you feel like throwing a couple of bucks my way, you can do that too. All the revenue from this ancestry will be used to pay some artists more skilled than me at illustration to make some dope art for the next ancestry I release. Anyway, that was my pitch. I hope that you like the Death Sovereign, and most of all, that people can not only enjoy that fantasy of playing Overlord in D&D, but also that they feel encouraged to truly portray an evil undead Overlord. Give it a try, and tell me what you thought of it. Thank you for watching. I'm the first Arcadian. And